Hey, welcome to SparcStar's TA Leader Series, where we talk to top people in talent acquisition who have good things to share, interesting thoughts, interesting questions to ask, all things that help us get better at the job. Today, I'm thrilled to have my friend Brian Fink join us. Brian, let me ask you to introduce yourself to the audience.
Maury, thank you for first off calling me a friend. I really appreciate that. I can't think of a better introduction than the camaraderie that we've created in recruiting. My name is Brian Fink. I'm a talent acquisition partner at McAfee Security. We work to make sure that you are safe and protected wherever you go on the web. It is my responsibility to bring individuals to our team that want to solve complex problems and build unique products. I particularly am a technology recruiter. But I do sometimes dabble in the wild, wild world of accounting and finance, marketing and sales. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. And again, I'm so blessed to be able to be called a friend of yours and to offer that in exchange. Thank you.
I value that friendship deeply, as do many of my peers in the industry. So before we do our mutual admiration society here, let's get down to some of the topic. We've talked a lot. You've seen, as have I, lots of changes in this industry, lots of promises about how the industry was going to be, completely changed. I think we're seeing some real traction now with AI actually changing things. What's your take on where we are and where we're going?
So, I think that companies can't afford to not be involved in kind of this progress, like leveraging AI, leveraging data, automation to make smarter, faster decisions. However, if our friend Torrin Ellis was here, he would say that don't fixate on all these technologies to solve your problems, and don't at the same time sift through resumes like it's the Stone Age. Wasting time and money will never go out of style, and also trying to be more efficient will also never go out of style. But what I want to stress is that we've got to keep the human element in recruiting, right? Whether you agree or disagree that recruiting is part of a human resource function, there is increased competition for candidates. The competition is fierce. The window to grab those candidates is shrinking. I saw some data the other day that was put out by a friend, Rich Rosen, that says that the average candidate's only on the market for 14 days now, with a 4% unemployment rate. People are going to take an offer for a company that embraces the future and embraces humanity, somebody who creates a human experience that is seamless, personal, and fast. And that's kind of what I'm jamming on today, right? I mean,
I love it.
yeah. I don't think it's just about tech. I do think it's about mindset. I think it's about that holistic view of talent, rethinking about how you evaluate people, leveraging data without dehumanizing the process. I think is paramount to who we are and what we will continue to be if we want to be those talent advisors, not only to the business, but the talent advisor also to our candidate. Because I can't stress, the candidate sometimes is sidelined in this adoption of technology. And if you're not putting the candidate at the center of the experience, they have to be the center of the experience. They have to be the center of everything.
I can't agree more. We have seen companies that are using technology to make a bad process faster. And a fast, bad process is not an improvement. We're also seeing candidates who, we're talking to one person who has really low candidate experience scores, and they automated everything, and the candidate still felt like they hadn't been responded to because they were getting automated letters. That human touch is really important, and it's amazing how quickly people forget about it.
Well, Maury, let's not sugarcoat it, because talent is the most important asset to any organization, whether you're a nonprofit, whether you're for profit, no matter who you are. And I think you touched on it really, really viscerally. Is it a bad hire costs money, productivity, and it impacts morale, right? Like, I used to work for this great startup, Cabbage, and we had this policy, a no asshole rule, right? So we didn't want to hire anybody who really turned over the apple cart. We believe, and I think it's from those instances, whether it's working in an Apple, an AWS, a McAfee today, is that a great hire is a competitive advantage. It attracts people to the business. But to get those great hires, and you got to be human.
Yes. Right. Yeah.
And
I love
and maybe
people. Yeah. I love organizations who say our people are our greatest asset. And a candidate can go all the way through the recruiting process without meeting any of their people. And I want to say, huh? Why not put even your hiring manager out front so people get to meet them up front? I mean, think about in your process, when does somebody get to meet the hiring manager? And we all know a good hiring manager is worth everything. People join companies for good bosses and leave for bad bosses generally. If you've got somebody that you have as a boss that you don't respect, you can't learn from, that isn't supporting your career, there's almost no job that's good. So if you've made good hires, if you've got those kinds of folks that do attract other good people, why not put them out front? Why are you waiting until you've sorted through 99% of your candidates to even make the hiring manager available?
let's be real about it. If talent is truly a company's greatest asset, their most valuable asset, you should totally be putting your generals out in the field to show people how they lead people, how they develop people, how they grow people. You don't want it to just be a line in an annual report about attrition. All right. So like I think that ways that companies should do this is that they should put the talk into training and development. And I'm not talking about some generic corporate seminar with PowerPoint slides from 2005. Like that's not my jam. I'm actually thinking that the best companies, and shout out to Lynn, who's a member of our team, is that we build customized ongoing learning programs that align with the company's goals and with the employees' career goals, not just quarterly targets, right? Um, you've got to, and when you showcase leadership and when you showcase learning, you're not just filling seats, you're building future leaders, you're building pillars of that organization. Um, I guess it's like I guess it's like an acid test is, do employees know their next step? And when they talk to the manager, when they have those consocial relationships with their peers or with different groups that are outside of their peer group, it gives them a roadmap, right? Like there was this great book that was written by it may be from 2005 now that I'm making jokes about 2005. No, 2015 is it was a book that's called The Alliance by Reid Hoffman, founder of
Mm,
LinkedIn, right?
yeah.
Is they want to make sure that people aren't stuck in dead end roles, wondering why they're grinding away. They want to build powerful alumni groups. They want to make sure that their top talent sees a future, not just at their organization, but one that is individually bright for them. And I think that one of the things that we're doing with video of hiring managers and inviting them to the interview is that we're personalizing the process, that we're trying to come up with defined career tracks and career trajectories for individuals. We're offering that personalized learning. Like I said, we want to build
Okay.
future
And
leaders.
Brian, but how are you letting prospective candidates know that? That's hugely important. It's a great draw. Does anybody know that before they show up for an application or an interview?
So I think they do know that, but I can't track the data. And I talked about the data, right? Is that Maury? One of the things that I'm really passionate about right now is dark funnel marketing, which is the idea that a candidate goes through multiple touch points before they ever hit send or hit reply to an in-mail or email. Is that they're checking out your LinkedIn, they're looking at corporate statements, they're looking at Glassdoor, they're watching videos on how to interview at your company, they're watching interviews from people who don't interview at your company and telling them the good, the bad, and the ugly on TikTok, right? So I realize that this is taking a confluence of mixed signals, but it's real. And I think that people are looking at that like, just this week, McAfee, we announced a partnership with Yahoo News where they're using our deepfake detector to make sure that people are not faked out by fake news, right? And I think that's a value, especially as I recruit for data scientists, that I can point to it and say, if you come here, you're going to be part of an organization where you're going to build products that are going to affect people's lives and do it at scale. And so I think there are a lot of different ways to humanize the process, especially in our rigid kind of corporate setting. It is a confluence of mixed signals. And
But it's
real
got to be
talent is going to
credible.
look for those. Yeah.
Yeah. As you talk about, as candidates go and do their research, they're not probably watching your 2-minute hero video, or maybe they are, but they're much more likely to go look at other employees that work there and see what they've posted. They're looking for something they can grab onto and believe, not something that's slick and produced where people are reading scripts that are full of, buzzwords and so forth. They want the real skinny. So how do you do that credibly? How do you make it
So,
real for people?
so I think you have to go there. I think you have to meet candidates where they're at, right? And I think you have to explain the good, the bad, and the ugly about the organization. I think back to instances where where I've gotten the opportunity to go to recruiting events or specific events like an Afrotech and be part of the conversation with individuals about what is right, what is wrong, how people can act on it, how they can build, creating that respect and transparency. I think those are the foundations of engagement and ultimately the foundations of loyalty in an organization. Um, it's like if a company says one thing and then they do another. Like for instance, when I was at a social media company, they said they wanted to do all these things, but then they pulled out of events that would have sent the message that they were about diversity, inclusion, equity, and belonging, that they disenfranchised multiple people from being involved in the conversation. So I think it's treating people like adults. I think it's knowing the score. I think it's being competitive. I think it's having authentic conversations that build trust and loyalty.
And when people look at, attrition and turnover, they so often begin the relationship on a lie. You get back to the diversity piece. Sometimes I look at corporate career sites and all I see are, these wildly diverse faces, which is great. You want representation, but then people get in the organization and they find out
There's nobody there. There's nobody there.
Right. It's
There's no
stock
Black
photos I've been
Employees
looking at.
Network. Yeah.
Yeah, and I respect the fact that you're not going to have a website of all white people because what message does that send? So where's the balance between being honest with people, and honest about your organization and still being aspirational? It's not easy, but boy, it's easier to do it badly than it is to do it well.
So I think that people think, and let's talk about DEIB for a second, as I think that people believe that they have to boil the ocean, and I don't think that's the right methodology. I think it's small incremental steps, right? I think it's like calling out the lie of the family in the work. For those of you who are listening, I just air quoted the word family in the workplace. I think that we need to argue that employees and companies shouldn't pretend they're in some lifelong relationship, that in reality, both sides are in it for what they can get. And sure, it's about the mutually beneficial tour of duty, but it's not blind allegiance, right? So instead of empty promises for forever, like an empty promise about we're a diverse organization, right? Let's talk about honest contracts that what we need people to build. Let's talk about the mission. Let's talk about the skills that people need. Let's talk about the connects to their goals. Let's talk about how it pushes the person forward and then the organization forward. One thing that I always say to every candidate is, can you give me a 2-minute snapshot about where you've been and where you're going so I can make sure that this role is the right vehicle to get you where you want to go next? Yeah, I just, when the mission's done, it's okay to move on, no hard feelings. I just think that there's a lot of transparency that needs to take place. I think video is a great way to do it. I think open-ended ask me anythings on Reddit is another way to have a great documentation around what is going on or what isn't going on. I think those networking events or those college career fairs are also a great instance whereby people connect with people, and also involve video in interviewing, right? Like let people see that you're engaged or you're disengaged, right? Like, but I will be mindful of this. I will be mindful of this. Video is not always a great medium for people to interview because there are people who are neurodivergent that it doesn't work for.
Yeah, right. And one of the things at SparcStart, we don't do video interviews, but we do video for all the other things because it has credibility when you see someone's face, when you can hear their tone, when you can watch their expressions. It just communicates more than trying to write it out. I don't care how good a writer you are. We all learn faster from video. I mean, even if you're a terrific writer. But to your earlier point about giving candidates enough information, what that really speaks to is the need to have a really robust asset library. right? People go, oh, you want to tell them the dark side. I'm not going to have my my website all talk about the negatives here. No, of course you're not. You need to balance that. But it means you actually need a lot of information. You need all of those different things. So candidates understand, do you have a commitment to sustainability? What is your diversity? What's your learning and development?
What's your ESG? What's
all
going
of
on?
those
Yeah.
things, right? All of those things. It's not, oh, here, let me do, my 3 pillars of my EVP. That's all I'm going to share with people. Those can be important, but it's not the whole story. It's not enough to make a decision about. So really having the assets, so your recruiters have got access to all of those things for you. Technically, where's the organization going? What's on the roadmap? What kinds of technologies you're looking at?
100.
For a tech person, they care about all that. What kind of tools am I going to get? How am I going to keep my skills up to date? There are a million things they want to know that really matter. And try to do it all. Hard, but doable. With the platforms today, you can actually create all those things.
Well, I would argue for that because we're having a conversation right now, and I have 30-minute conversations with my candidates all throughout the day. There's no way that I can cover all their questions, all their research in 30 minutes. There's just no way that I can do it, right? And we do a lot of emailing, and I do a lot of check this out on YouTube or check it out on GitHub or what have you, or check out this press release. You're right. If you don't have that asset library, it's a disservice to your candidates. It really is.
It absolutely is. But Brian, you and I could talk all day, and sometimes we have. Out of respect for the time of folks watching. And I really want people to listen to this conversation. And we find if you keep your videos short, people are more likely to watch them. So it's important that you get some information out there rather than none at all. So Brian, I'm going to thank you. You are easy to find at conferences. You're very generous with your time and expertise. So I assume it's fine with you if people reach out to you to talk about this more.
Let's party. Let's party. Yeah. I mean, I try to tell people
appreciate it.
all the time, I have office hours from 12 to 6 p.m. every Friday. That's Eastern. If you have a question or you want to pick my brain, just let me know. I'm here to be helpful, just as helpful as you've been today, Maury, to our community. Thank you for being a lighthouse. You rock.
Well, great. Thanks very much. Bye.